That's right. It's time for the Sanitized Sessions with Rich Lenkoff and Jason Klicka. Great to see you. How's it going?
What's up, Mike?
And of course, Emma. It's good to see you, everybody. So it's great to see you for the first time tonight. This has been an epic night. We've been practicing music all day, all in the best moods to talk about some Bruce Springsteen. And Rich, you are my number one expert on Bruce Springsteen. And I thought just to keep people engaged and people alive. Oh, and Soul's here too. I didn't say hi to Soul.
What's up, guys? How are you?
You have been to the most concerts ever for Bruce Springsteen. I think you might hold the Guinness Book of World Records. How many concerts have you been to with Bruce, and what is this affection towards this beautiful, beautiful man?
Well, I have seen the boss well over 100 times. It's 113 as we speak. Been listening to the boss my whole life. And yeah, the attraction is just, the best damn rock and roll music out there.
And he wears a goddamn pair of jeans.
Exactly. He knows how to wear a pair of jeans.
He wears the tightest of pairs of jeans. Woo! Look at this. The thigh gap, even with on the record, makes it. He's like, yeah, make sure you get that thigh gap in there. What a great record this was, too. What was your first Bruce Springsteen record?
Well, the first one that I purchased on my own is depicted on the shirt you're wearing, Born in the USA. I bought it as a cassette from Pyramid Mall in Plattsburgh, New York, just an hour over the border of where I grew up in Montreal. So, yeah, play the hell out of that one for the whole summer.
Jeez, man, that's pretty cool. So, what was your first Bruce Springsteen record?
It's the first time that I heard this artist.
Remember, you got to talk in the microphone.
It's the first time that I heard about this artist.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're going to find some great new.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
And we're also going to apologize for butchering this guy. Is your first impression of us, right?
Exactly.
Baby, we were born to run.
Yes. All right, Rich, you have a cool story to share, but I think that we should get some songs in before the night closes. Jason, I heard you had something in your pocket. Now, you had a B-side or something you were practicing that you wanted to play for us?
Yeah, sure. So this is a cover I've been messing around with a while back ago, but I never played it for anyone live. So probably the most covered song.
So it's
yeah, sounds good. All right, take it away. I'm going to give you the mic.
I get up in the evening and I ain't got nothing to say. I come home in the morning, I go to bed feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but tired. Man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey there, baby, I could use just a little help. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire, even if you're just dancing in the dark. Message is getting clearer. Radio on, moving around my place. I check my look in the mirror. I wanna change my clothes, my hair, my face. Man, I ain't going nowhere. I'm just living in a dump like this. Something happened somewhere. Baby, I know that there is. You can't start a fire. Worried about your little world falling apart. You can't start a fire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. You sit around getting older. There's a joke here somewhere, and it's on me. I shrug this world off my shoulders. Come on, baby, this way, it's on me. Stay on the streets of this town, and you'll be carving it up alright. They say you got to stay hungry. Well, baby, I'm just about starving tonight. I'm dying for action. I'm sick of sitting around trying to write this book. I need a reaction. Give me just one look. You can't stop a fire. Sit around crying over broken heart. This gun's for hire. Even if we're just dancing in the, you can't start a fire. Worrying about your little world falling apart. Can't start a fire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. Even if we're just dancing in the dark. Even if we're just dancing in the dark. Let's hear it, let's hear it. Hey, baby.
I get up in the evening.
Woo!
Oops. There we go. That's it. I changed it up. Sorry about that. So I changed up to add the Bruce. That was awesome, man. Great cover.
Thanks, dude.
Nice.
So, Rich, I got to know what's the story? What's the ideas behind that song? Because you kind of are our expert here.
Dancing in the Dark, of course, off the iconic Born in the USA album, 1984, was the biggest hit of Springsteen's career. Reached #2 on the Billboard Hot 100. Kept under the #1 spot by guess what song? Anyone want to guess what iconic 80s band kept Bruce from his only #1 single of his career?
Menudo.
Nope. Think Great Britain. Think big hair. Very 80s. A lot of synthesizers.
Wilson Phillips.
No.
Bastards.
None other than Duran Duran.
What?
Oh,
By
really?
the legendary Simon Le Bon. And the song that kept Dancing in the Dark out of #1 was The Reflex. It's #1 in June 1984.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Baby, we were born to run.
This did get Bruce's first Grammy, though, of his career. Of course, the iconic video was maybe among the most remembered parts of this song because it featured a then relatively unknown but future star of maybe the most popular comedy of all time, arguably. None other than Friends, Jason?
Rachel Lee Cook.
TV's very own Courtney Cox.
What?
Courtney Cox was a relatively unknown actress. She had been in a soap opera, but she was in the front row. And the director, Brian De Palma, of course, of Scarface fame and some other films, had Bruce pick her out of the front row, and she danced and later became a superstar. But that was her first real break.
It's crazy to think how long these people have been famous for. Like Bruce Springsteen's been famous since he was, 23 years old or something like that?
Well, he released his first album, in early 1973. So been selling records for whatever the math is. You guys are the math wizards on that, but long time.
So what was
40 plus years.
You're the doctor here.
I am the doctor, but I am really bad in math.
Okay, good
This
to know.
is why I pick medicine.
Almost 50 years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! So, Rich, I'm going to add this video in after we get done with this. But you had a cool experience. Your daughter actually went on stage with Bruce Springsteen, and it's an amazing video. Yeah, for real. Her first show ever was with Bruce Springsteen, and it got to go on stage.
Amazing.
Now you kind of have a story about that. Like you went to the show. Did you ever think that was going to happen? Like out of every single person at every single show, your daughter.
Trying to get her back up here to tell the story, but this was Wrigley Field, 2012. Here she comes.
Yeah.
This was night 2 of a 2-night stand at Wrigley Field. Here she is.
No, welcome. Good to see you, Emma.
What's up, Emma?
All right, Em, tell the story.
Great
Take
to
over.
see you for the first time tonight.
You're 7 years old. It's night 2 at Wrigley Field, 2012. What happens?
I get called up on stage with Bruce Springsteen.
And how'd you know the lyrics to the song?
You taught them to me.
How long was I drilling this into your head for?
Too long.
So the name of the song is Waiting on a Sunny Day, and Bruce would, during the whole tour, pull a different kid up during every show to sing a few lyrics from that song. And for a whole year, I would play that song for Emma and tell her, I'm taking you to the concert. When he comes to Chicago, you better learn the lyrics because you're going up on stage. Now, mind you, there's 60,000 people in the show, and kids go to these shows specifically to sing that song. So the chances of her getting up were pretty remote. Well, sure enough,
You felt it. You're like, this is the day.
Yeah,
we're gonna practice all week for it.
We get to the show and we get right to the front of the pit, and Bruce walks over to our side during the song, and Emma has this amazing sign that you'll see in the video.
Mm-hmm.
And Bruce looks at her, points at her, and then keeps walking down to the end of the stage and gets on a riser and grabs a beer, which he would do during that concert, and chugs it, and then walks back to the stage, stops in front of us, looks at her, pulls her up, and then the rest you'll see on video.
Wow. Now, Emma, I gotta know, like, when you were in that moment, what was that extra energy or extra oomph, or was the sign just that darn good that Bruce was able to find you out of everybody else?
I mean, I was on your shoulders, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess I was like above everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Rich is like 9 or 10 feet tall, to be honest.
Sure.
I know him.
He's all about your pigtails and your shirt.
Oh yeah, I had pigtails and a shirt. What did it say again? It was yellow.
It was a Got Bruce shirt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were in it to win it. We were elbowing out kids. We were not leaving without her getting up on stage.
Come on, East Street Band!
Come on, East Street Band!
That is the craziest thing. Yeah, you're gonna love this video, by the way.
Okay,
It's the coolest thing ever.
I really want to.
Was that as far as like the happiest you've ever been in your life? Where did that come? What level? Top 5?
I mean, probably. I don't remember it that much, but also I didn't like Bruce Springsteen that much when I was there. So, but like now it means more to me. But yeah.
Now you love him, right?
I guess.
You have to.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. That's the craziest and the coolest story ever, because I guess it wasn't until I was kind of listening. I kind of got into Bruce Springsteen a little later in life, and it was through Rich, just like talking to him and just seeing how passionate he was about Bruce Springsteen. I'm like, maybe I should give this guy a second look.
Yeah.
And then I got that album and just started playing it over and over again, just hearing Born to Run, and just the way that those songs seamlessly went into each other. I was a huge fan. I love that horn section too. So
I think
what's my contribution to Clicka's love of Bruce?
Same thing from Lenkoff. So I worked for Rich for some time, and my office was right across. I think actually it's probably an interview question for Rich. Favorite Bruce song. Have you ever seen him before? But my office was right next to his, and his office has tons of just like pictures and, you know, like great memorabilia of everything, but a ton of Bruce stuff. So being a young buck trying to impress the boss, I Googled who is Bruce Springsteen. And the rest
Who is
is
this person you call Springsteen? And I got you some vinyl, didn't I?
Yeah. I think I've got The River, and you got me Asbury Park. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. Holy smokes. Rich has a really great taste in music. So maybe one of these days you can have a Rich Linkoff, Bruce Springsteen moment.
I will see. I will listen to him first.
Okay, good. Very good. Very good. So I thought I would. Do you mind if I play one real fast?
Yeah, Mike, let's hear it.
I'll dial one back. It's one of my favorites. I mean, this is Bruce's the end all be all of popular songs from him, but it's one of my favorite songs. This is the song that my mom used to show me because she was a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. I never got it, but you know what? I should get in my I wore this bandana and this leather jacket, but we were going through some stuff earlier that I was sweating so much that I had to take it off. But now I'm in the mode. Now I'm ready to play the song. And this one goes out.
You just ripped it off and threw it on the ground, and
I just ripped it off, and I was like,
Baby, we were born to run.
Thank you, Soul. Thank you.
so good.
All right. So we press this in like once I get through the first verse, we just press auto scroll. Okay. But after the first verse.
Okay.
Thank you, Soul. All right. So this is the song. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3,
4,
5. On the day we sweat out on the streets of a runaway American dream, where now we send down mansions of glory and suicide machines. Swung from the pages down the highway on a fuel wheel jetted, stepping out over the line. Wow, baby, now rips the bones from your back. It's a death trap, suicide rap. We gotta get out while we're young. Tramps like us, so we were born to run. Perfect. When you let me in, I wanna be your friend. I wanna guard your dreams and visions. Just wrap my hands around, that's scaring me. And wrap your hands across my engines. Together we could break this trap. We're gonna run till we drop. Baby, we'll never go back. Wow, will you walk on this wild for me? Cause baby, just a scared and lonely rider, but I gotta know how it feels. Gotta know if love is wild, baby. Gotta know if love is real. Nope, you slow on the vocals. Nope. I got you. Don't you worry. Beyond the palace, beyond the palace, hemi-powered drones always scream from a boulevard. Girls comb their hair in real boom mirrors, and boys try to look real hard. The amusement park rises and bold stock. All the kids are there in the mist. I wanna die with you and on the streets tonight in a never-ending kiss. Oh, ended on E. 1, 2, 3, 4. The highway's jammed up with broken mirrors on the last chance power drive. So everyone's out on the run tonight, but we got no place to hide. We're together so we can live with the sadness. I'm gonna love it, oh, the madness in my soul. Oh, that fits. Whoa, someday, girl, I don't know when we're gonna get to that place where we really wanna go. Walk in the sun, tramps like us, baby, we were born to run.
Baby, we were born to run. Come on, Wendy, tramp circus. Baby, we were born to run.
All right, so take it. All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so threw the headphones right off my head like a crazy person. There you go. So Born to Run, the most famous Bruce Springsteen song there ever was. What's the story behind that? It's a great song about being friends with your family, getting success, and living a great life, right?
Well, maybe the opposite. Trying to get away from everything, right? I mean, he talks about getting out using Highway 9, which was the main highway in Freehold, New Jersey, and the protagonist of the song is just trying to get out and get in the car. And a theme we see commonly in Springsteen songs is this idea of making a better life, and to do so, you've got to get out of your current surroundings. So obviously Bruce grew up in a very blue collar part of the United States, in and around Freehold, New Jersey, Asbury Park, New Jersey. Very blue collar upbringing, and the whole idea of Born to Run and some of the other songs later in his career was you need to get on the road. And Springsteen was very much a student of Western migration, and for him the whole idea of leaving New Jersey and going west to him held a lot of promise, even though most of his career he spent in and around Virginia, New Jersey, New York. The whole theme of Born to Run is, putting your past behind you, getting in a car and just going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's incredible, like the way that if you want to listen to like the real end all be all dictation of Bruce, you got to listen to Two Dudes, One Disc with me and Rich when we looked at the Bruce Springsteen album Born to Run. I think it's an amazing just decades worth of knowledge about him. So go and check that out. I'll post it later.
Dudes, One Disc.
Dudes, One Disc. Bring it back. So, as somebody who has never really heard of Bruce Springsteen, do you have any questions about this man, this myth? Because I'm sure you heard his name before, right?
To be honest, in my country, I haven't heard about him.
Okay.
I tried to think about, because my uncle is a pretty big fan of this kind of music, but I never heard, to be honest with you. I mean,
what'd you think of it? What'd you think of Born to Run?
I like it. I like it a lot. It's a really nice song. I like it. It's catchy.
Mm-hmm. It is catchy. It is.
I like his voice. It's got that like we're born to run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's the Bruce impression.
Well, you got to do, if you really want to do a Bruce impression, you got to do him talking between songs, which sometimes lasts a good 15 or 20 minutes. And, he's like, yeah, I was growing up in Freehold, New Jersey, and working in a factory. By the way, Bruce has never worked in a factory, never worked a day in his life, and has some kind of accent, that you don't hear, from most New Jerseyans, especially ones who grew up 20 minutes from New York City. But somehow when he talks, he sounds, I believe that in a mansion on the hill, and So yeah, you got to do the real.
Everybody from Jersey, though, right? Like it all of a sudden sounds like they smoked like 30 packs of cigarette.
Yeah. Always sounds like something's caught in his digestive tract.
Yeah.
But I kind of wouldn't want it any other way, because then we look at his life, and he was actually more so into theater and writing and creating plays and stuff growing up, rather than being the factory worker that everyone thinks he is, which is pretty interesting. And it's awesome that he created like this awesome character. I mean, he's an awesome performer. Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love him. I want to see him more. Jason, you've never seen him before. Rich, how many times have you seen Bruce Springsteen?
I can't remember if we said this already.
How many concerts have you been to with Bruce, and what is this affection towards this beautiful, beautiful man?
Well, I've seen the boss well over 100 times. It's 113 as we speak. I've been listening to the boss my whole life. The attraction is just, the best thing.
since we started this live stream.
Yeah, I mean,
That would be 113 times. I remain consistent.
Wow.
Oh man. I might add some of those.
I'll refer to my prior answer in the record.
I laugh because I don't want to cry. The live stream, I'm going to post this on Facebook afterwards. So everyone will be able to see it. Rich, what do you have?
113 times.
113 times.
And counting.
Rich, so what's next on your docket? You do so much with your life. I want to know what's going on with you lately. Like, what have you been up to? You just opened up a new place. How are you maintaining all of these new ventures? I guess with this crazy Corona thing going on too.
Everything that's going on in my life, Heidemann, is restricted to what you see right here.
I love it. Okay,
this is my very busy social calendar.
So what's
right there? If it can't fit in the screen, it's not happening.
Are you doing LFO from the house?
Legal Face Off.
Legal
WGN will be doing its home edition, its first ever home edition, starting Thursday. It might be an all coronavirus legal show, but we're trying to keep it interesting. We're trying to keep it, varied as we always do. But yeah, stay tuned. We have a pretty good roster of guests coming up Thursday on LFO Home Office Edition.
Great.
And the good news is we'll be drunk. It'll be like 9:30. We're going to be drunk the whole time.
I think that's the way to be. Well, Rich, I don't want to keep you for too long. Do you want to stick around for a few minutes, or do you got to split out? 10-10.
Man, I'm going all night tonight, so whatever you guys want to do, I'm in.
All right.
I'm waiting for me to sing. I can't sing at all, but at some point maybe I'll.
Whoa! Wait, Jason and I have heard you sing, and
you beg to differ.
Yes.
Voice of the angel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have to sing right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Soul's challenge you to a sing off. I think.
I want to hear.
Maybe I'll do the, the B side to "Dancing in the Dark." I think is "Held Up Without a Gun," which holds the distinction of being the shortest Springsteen song at like 1:20. So maybe I'll do that one. I'll torture people only for 1:20.
Yeah, you should.
Acapella.
Grab acapella or karaoke.
Yeah.
Or Soul can play the egg for you. All right, so
I was kidding. No one wants to hear me sing.
Unless you're gonna go
like 7 or 8 shots in.
All right, so how about we get Jason? Jason, do you want to play one more song for Rich, and then we'll jump back in and then we'll just try to keep talking Rich into drinking beer so he can sing us that 1 20-second song. Or
all right.
Sing a.
You ready for this? So we were asking for requests earlier today from Rich, and this was his number one. So I figured we're gonna muddle through this.
Yeah, let's set this one up. This is a track from the 1982 album Nebraska, which Bruce was coming off his biggest hit record to date, a double album called The River, that really elevated his career to superstardom in 1980. That album came out in 1980. And then he took some time off and was actually writing songs for Born in the USA. He wrote about 70 or 80 songs for Born in the USA. And he realized that a bunch of them just didn't work with the full band. So he released what turned out to be a solo record and a really stark album, all acoustic, recorded literally on a 4-track recording device on his bed in his bedroom in Colts Neck, New Jersey. Literally no one else around. He played all the instruments and was received
in quarantine for Corona.
Exactly. I mean, it's exactly apropos for this because it was, commercially not that successful, but just, critics ate it up. And at first people, were not sure what to do with it because it was so stark and acoustic, but it holds up to this day as one of his classic albums. And to me, Atlantic City is the best track of 10 great tracks on the album. This is my favorite. So Clicka learned it today. He's going to crush it.
In between technical difficulties.
Also, by the way, holds the distinction of being the first official Springsteen video. It was a black and white video, scenes of Atlantic City. Bruce doesn't appear in the video, but it's a great video. And the song talks about the absolute despair of Atlantic City in the early 80s, you know, a gambling mecca, but also, you know, attracted drugs and crime and mafia. This song encapsulates a lot of that.
So who is the Chicken Man?
Chicken Man is actually based on a real New Jersey gangster from the early 80s. I don't remember his name, but yeah, the Chicken Man is a great character in this song. It actually speaks to, you know, if you listen to especially some of the early Springsteen albums, like Lost in the Flood is a great early song. And there's all these characters that are, you know, spun in these songs, and it really brings it alive. And it all, you know, Springsteen talks a lot about how his songs are actually, you know, mini movies in 3 or 4 minutes, or a song like Jungle Land, which is a lot longer. There's all these characters, you know, with nicknames. You know, the Magic Rat, you know, is one character. And you really are listening to a screenplay in a few minutes. And, you know, these songs like Atlantic City just come to life with characters like Chicken Man.
You know, actually, before you play real quick, check out this. Boom. Chicken Man.
There he is.
That is the Notorious Gangster.
Oh, look at that.
Man.
That's it. Bruce wrote it about him.
He looks evil.
He does.
Good look. Could use a little ointment, maybe.
Sunscreen.
On that note, right? Well, they blew up the Chicken Man in Philly last night. Now they blew up his house too. Down on the boardwalk, they're getting ready for a fight. Gonna see what them racket boys can do. Now there's trouble busting in from out of state, and the DA can't get no relief. Gonna be a rumble out in the promenade, and the gambling commission's hanging Scott by his teeth. Well, everything dies, baby, that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty, and meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Well, I got a job and tried to put my money away, but I got me some debts no honest man can pay. So I drew what I had from the Central Bank, and I bought us 2 tickets to the City Plus. Well, now everything dies, baby, that's a fact. But maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty, and meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Now our love may die and our love may be cold, but with you forever I'll stay. We're going out where the sand's turning gold. Put on your stocking, baby, the nights get cold. And maybe everything dies, baby, that's a fact. But maybe everything dies, someday comes back. Now I'm looking for a job, but it's hard to find. Down here it's just winners, losers. I don't get caught on the wrong side of that line. Well, I'm tired of coming on the losing end. So honey, last night I met this guy. I'm going to do him a little favor for him. Well, now everything dies, baby, that's a fact. But maybe everything dies, someday comes back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty, and you meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City.
Wow, should be.
Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City.
Bruce. Nice job.
Great job.
Through it.
Jason, you were so good that the cops showed up. Look at this.
Oh, yeah. Is that a Blues Brother?
Put your
That's the original Chicken Man right there.
hands up.
He heard Chicken Man. He came running. He saw his photo and went into the live stream. He's like, I gotta the elusive Chicken Man. Oh, that was great, man. Great
I
cover.
was thinking, like, that context of the song really made more sense.
Right?
You know, at the end of it, like Golden Sands, and we were talking about the DA coming in. And no, that didn't have any context when I learned it.
Again, you're talking about characters who are trying to, you know, get out of their current circumstance and get to a better life. In this case, which is a common theme in Springsteen songs, you're talking about someone who wants to do one last job. And, you know, in this case, the protagonist says, I met this guy, I'm going to do a little favor for him. He can't find any real work, any legitimate work, so he's got to turn to crime. And he hopes to do one last thing and then get to legitimate work. He's not a bad guy. He's not inherently a criminal. He's just trying to get, you know, his life together and meet and make ends meet.
Jeez. I mean, if you can't say that Bruce Springsteen isn't an amazing songwriter. I mean, the way that, like, the way that he paints these pictures, and every time I read like Born to Run or any of these songs, just seeing the way that he constructs sentences, like what is it? The chrome fuel injected, stepping out over the line. Oh, I mean, that line is amazing. It makes you can almost feel the steel, right, Soul?
Right.
Yeah, his metaphors and the way he writes about, like, and just like engages your senses with everything too. It's unparalleled.
Yeah, also very much, you know, a songwriter of the moment. I mean, you could track, you know, through his career, different stages of his life. And of course, you know, very famously, he's written about some really pressing issues, everything from, you know, his post 9/11 work on the Rising, where he talks, you know, he writes and sings very openly about a lot of the events of 9/11 in songs like, you know, The Rising and The Fire and Empty Sky, to, you know, his becoming a lot more political in his later years. You know, early on, he was reluctant to be very partisan and express his politics, even though everyone sort of suspected he was a Democrat. He very famously shied away from that. In fact, in 1984, as we talked about in Two Dudes, One Disc, Ronald Reagan, who was running for re-election, used Born in the USA as an anthem, and Springsteen told him, no, I don't want you to do that because you're misinterpreting, as many people did, the whole meaning of Born in the USA. You know, Born in the USA, even though it's this this fist pumping anthemic rock song, was not meant to be a pro-America song, even though you've got the flag in the background. What it was written as and performed as is a, you know, protest song for people coming back from Vietnam and not accepted back into society and having PTSD. So, you know, early on, he told Reagan, I don't want you to use that. But later, as he became, you know, more involved and more aware, he was more overtly partisan. And, you know, his songs reflect that.
Yeah, he's an incredible artist and such a great mind too. And he's a great mind, great person, and I love the fact that his whole career he has not had the controversies or the problems that most great famous artists do have. I don't think I've ever seen. Rich, has Bruce Springsteen ever been in a controversial situation?
No. So he famously, you know, has always refrained from drugs and, you know, drinking, and really hasn't had those kind of vices, and that's kept him away from, you know, those kind of issues that have hit most rock stars. I mean, the closest couple things that have come is, you know, he basically cheated on his wife with Patti Scialfa, who was a member of the E Street Band starting around 1984, a backup singer. And around that time, when that album came out, he married Julianne Phillips, who was an actress, a TV actress at that point. And their marriage lasted maybe 3 or 4 years. And, you know, during that time, he was cheating on Julianne Phillips with Patti Scialfa. So that was kind of a controversy. You know, of course, most Bruce fans thought that Julianne Phillips was this LA actress and not a good fit for Bruce anyway. And this, you know, backup singer born and bred in New Jersey was meant to be with Bruce. And, you know, they've been married and have had 3 kids, been married since like 88 or so. So
what an incredible like voice, and it's cool that he has that kind of influence to make positive change. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
I did want to make a quick mention about how amazing his voice really is. I did pull this audio real quick. Oh, wait, no, actually, I pulled this audio, and then I'm going to pull up a picture real quick to go with the story. But we were talking about his voice before. Here's an isolated vocal of his of Born to Run real quick if you want to hear it.
In the day we sweated out on the streets of a runaway American dream. At night we ride to mansions of glory and suicide machines. Sprung from cages on Highway 9, chrome wheel, fuel injected and stepping out over the line. Oh, baby.
I just wanted to hear that last, how he hit.
Oh, so good.
Powerful voice.
Yeah, he really.
Yeah.
So, do you not know how to use the microphone? Like, why is it?
I don't know. Why is that? Don't yell at me.
I'm not yelling. I'm just. I'm confused, and now.
I don't know why.
There. Perfect. I just want to make sure that you can hear, that you can talk, and everyone can hear you. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm just showing you a little microphone love. That's all. What do you think of Bruce's voice?
I think that he has a really powerful voice.
He does have a really powerful.
that clip you played, Mike, from Born to Run, he famously sweated over every detail of that album for like well over a year. I mean, he drove the producers crazy because of how many takes he would make them do, and how he literally like obsessed over every little detail, particularly for that album.
And there's the snare drum story, right? They spent like a week just figuring out the sound of like how dry the snare drum should be.
Yeah, exactly.
That comes from Bruce Springsteen, that famous snare drum story?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I've always heard that where they're like snapping it, and they're like, and then some guy comes in with a rubber band, he's like snapping, and he's like, no, it's not the right kind of, like it's been just popularized, the fact that, and it makes sense because that album is flawless. Like every time I play it, it's like, it's the most perfect vinyl album that I think that I own. And I have a lot of vinyls. So it's crazy to hear how perfect it is. And I love that gritty growling. You can feel it down in his belly. But I did want to show this one photo really quick. You met Bruce Springsteen, Rich. And if you can see it, it's smaller. What was this experience like?
Look at that.
Well, so I've met every member of the band, some of them many times, and I actually did some work with Steve Van Zandt. I worked on Steve Van Zandt, who's Bruce's lead guitar player and star of The Sopranos, on a live theater production he did a few years ago. So, I got to know some of the members of the band, but I never really met Bruce until this moment, which, a lot of people have this picture because it was at a book signing for his autobiography. I mean, Jason met him.
I think I'm trying to find it now.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I told him I loved him a few times. I was a little bit starstruck. But yeah, it was amazing.
That is so cool. So you get to, was this the first time you met him, or was this?
That was it. Again, I've had so many near misses over the years. One quick funny story is, again, I did some work. There you go. Clicker's version is right there.
Look at that. I just went in for it.
Well, move it over. We can't see it.
I'll fix it for you here. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Big man.
That's awesome.
Mr. Bruce, it's an honor.
So what did you have a moment with him? What is the question you asked me? There was no like, hey, in this song, what did you mean by Timmy, don't get fallen in the well or something? Like, what was the question you would ask Bruce Springsteen? Just, I love you.
I had a lot of questions, but they all came out as, I love you, Bruce. No, but here's two really funny stories on that, and I'll make them quick. So I worked on this show called Once Upon a Dream with Steve Van Zandt a few years ago. So Steve Van Zandt held an opening night party at Sardi's on Broadway, like the legendary, Broadway restaurant Sardi's, because the show had premiered on Broadway. So Van Zandt invites me to the premiere, and Bruce had been on tour in Australia at that time. So I knew he was on tour, so I didn't think Bruce would be at the party. So like an idiot, I was on a business trip, and I said, I'll skip this premiere party. Next morning, I'm on a plane. I open my phone after landing, and the first thing I see on my phone is a picture of one of my buddies who was a producer of the play with Springsteen at Sardi's at this little tiny restaurant that maybe had a couple hundred people from the party. I'm like, I couldn't believe I missed that chance. And the second funny thing is a good friend of mine, John Nolan, who's even more of a Springsteen, or maybe as big of a Springsteen fanatic as I am. He met Bruce. He's followed Bruce everywhere. And he, after one of the shows, Bruce signed his arm, Bruce Springsteen, on his forearm, right? So he sent us all that picture online. And, I'm on all these Springsteen fan sites, obviously. So we all immediately were writing to John Nolan, you got to get a tattoo of that. You got to memorialize it.
Obviously.
Sort of like joking. Well, like 2 days later, Nolan sends us a picture of the tattoo of Bruce down his forearm. So I feel like we almost bullied him into this decision, but he's so happy with it. He shows Bruce all the time. So a couple good encounters with the boss.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would ever get tired of that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What was that, Jason?
The same thing happened to me with Britney Spears,
Except it was on your breast.
It was on my chest, yeah. Britney across.
Oh my gosh. So I only have one more song.
Oh no.
And then I think that because I want to make sure that I'm doing Bruce justice, and these are the only 2 songs that I practiced. So that's why. And Jason, do you have any more?
I could probably muddle through maybe one more.
One more, and then Bruce. Sorry. Oh wow, I was gonna say Bruce. Rich, just let me know when you got to split out, and we'll close up shop here.
Good man, I'm good.
Adam, what do you think?
What else do I have to do?
I am fortunate to have to take off right now, but
you do?
Safe,
okay.
wear your gloves. I gotta go to work.
Adios, Adam.
All right, Adam.
Do this.
Good social distancing there, by the way.
Love you.
Strong social distancing.
Trust me.
Rich
I
says
cannot.
strong social distancing.
A strong social distance.
No, I mean, like, you guys aren't exactly
No.
practicing that.
Yeah.
You're practically on each other's laps.
Yeah, get the hell out of your soul.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Muévete,
This is why I wear
muévete.
the jacket, so she doesn't.
Muévete.
You move
You
it. Jay.
young
Tú
people.
muévete.
You young whippersnappers.
Exactly.
Soul bathed herself in Purell before this live stream.
He has a corona.
All right, so this song is called Hungry Heart. It's always hard. You can't, whenever I put my headphones on, I can't hear.
Got a wife and kids in Baltimore, Jack. I went out for a ride, hell, I never went back. Like a river, I don't know where it's flowing. We took a wrong turn and I just kept going. Oh, hey, everybody's got a hungry heart. Everybody's got a hungry heart. You take your money and you play your part. 'Cause everybody's got a hungry heart. Where's your head?
No worries.
Is Well, met her down in a Kingstown bar. Fell in love on who we had to end. We took what we had and we ripped it apart. 'Cause now I'm back down here in Kingstown again. Hey, 'cause everybody's got a hungry heart. Everybody's got a hungry heart. Take your money and you play your part. Well, everybody's got a hungry Mr. Chicken Man. Whoa.
You want to take this next verse? Okay.
'Cause everybody needs a place to rest. Well, everybody wants to have a home. Don't make no difference what nobody said. Ain't nobody likes to be alone. Yeah, everybody's got a hungry heart. Everybody got a hungry heart. You take your money and you play your part. But everybody got a hungry heart. Yeah! That's a good snapping. 'Cause everybody got a hungry heart.
There it is, Hungry Heart. 1980.
Hungry Heart. One of the probably the second song that I ever heard from Bruce Springsteen. I remember seeing the music video when I was very, very young. One of the first music videos I saw on MTV besides Buddy Holly's Weezer. And they're all at this bar dancing around, and it was so 80s. And that was kind of like what was glued in my head for so long, was like the 80ness of Springsteen, which might have held me back. Well, hey.
Yeah, so, big hit for Springsteen. Really the first really big sort of charting hit from his career. He was famous up until that point for giving away hit songs. He actually wrote this song for the Ramones. Until that point, yeah, he had given up songs like, Fire to the Pointer Sisters, Blinded by the Light to Manfred Mann.
Yeah.
He gave up Because the Night to Patti Smith. So, he finally decided that he's going to hold one of these to himself. Hell, ended up being a huge hit. Little known fun fact. Drum roll, please. Click it. His voice was sped up for the song.
Really?
Yeah, to make it a little more, catchy, a little more.
That makes total sense, because it sounds a little bit off, and it's just because when you're playing it back like on guitar, it doesn't have the right resonance. So I'm like, I was curious. And they did that to make it more poppy?
Yeah, make it a little more poppy and more of a dance hit.
Right
and
on.
During the Wrecking Ball tour a few years ago, he would crowd surf during this song. So I've grabbed many parts of Springsteen's body during the live version of Hungry Heart.
Baby, we were born to run.
There it is.
That's insane. What song does he crowd surf to now? Because he's like pushing, is he in his late 50s?
He is a little over 70.
Wow.
And he is still crowd surfing though.
Still crowd surfing. Or almost 70. I think he's almost 70. He's just about 70.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you don't want to be crowd surfing beyond 70. That's a
Like-
pretty solid rule of rock and roll.
Yeah.
Just crowd surfing to Social Security.
That's right.
I think if Ozzy went into a crowd and tried to crowd surf him into dust, it would just be like one of those famous old statues that falls and it's like,
Yeah.
Poor Ozzy. Rich, this has been so much fun, guys. Jason, I think we're almost at an hour, so I think maybe we'll cut it off at the hour mark. Jason, I know you have one more song to go, and then we'll let Rich close out with some last words and everything.
And I got a dog who's ready to go outside, so all right. I think I picked two that I think I can muddle my way through. So we got A and B. Do you want to know what they are?
Yes.
I don't know. So you just
B.
B? All right. It's a little bit of a slower one that we could do.
What was A?
Get up in the evening.
Just joking. Delete that.
You can't have A before I play it. All right.
I see you walking, baby, down the street, pushing baby carriage at your feet. I see the lonely ribbon in your hair. Tell me, am I meant to put it there? You never smile, girl, you never speak. Just walk on by, darling, week after week. Raising two kids alone in a mixed up world. Must be lonely like a working girl. Little girl, I wanna marry you. Oh yeah, little girl, I wanna marry you. Yes, I do. Little girl, I wanna marry you.
have a home and a family, mixing up in their responsibilities. They say that in the end true love prevails, but in the end love can't be no fairy tale. To say I'll make your dreams come true be so wrong. Maybe, darling, I could help them along. Little girl, I wanna marry you. Oh yeah, little girl, I wanna marry you. Yes, I do. Little girl, I wanna marry you. My daddy said right before he died that true love is just a lie. He went to his grave a broken heart and an unfulfilled life. Makes a man so hard. Oh, darling, there's something happy, something sad about me. Wanting somebody who's so bad, babe. I will love my darling without shame. I'd be proud if you would take my name. Little girl, I wanna marry you. Oh yeah, little girl, I wanna marry you. Yes, I do. Little girl, I wanna marry you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's a Springsteen song? I guess.
Yeah, it's from the river.
Dang, man, I've heard that song. I think I've heard you play that song before. I didn't know it was a Springsteen song. I thought you just wrote it.
I like
Oh
that.
no, yeah, I never. No, I'm not
From
taking.
the River, star of many, many weddings, that song in New Jersey and all over the world.
I bet. I love it when you're doing the tabs, Mike, and it's like sax solo, and you're like, oh shit.
Right.
What it is.
And you're just confused and you're just like, I'm gonna just roll through this. Or when there's like any guitar solo that looks a little too hard, like I think I can hit it, but I know I'm dangerous. I just hum it. I'm like,
Yeah.
This has been a blast, guys. Rich, I'm gonna leave it to you, and I'm gonna just your last words about Springsteen, why you love him. When's the next time you're gonna go and see him? And would you win in a fight against him?
Number one, I could take, I'm a man of superhuman strength. I can take down men 10 times my size, but no one can take down Bruce Springsteen. You know that he's got superhuman and especially old man strength at this point.
Baby!
He could beat anyone's ass. But
half man, half beast, all centaur.
That's right. Yeah, listen, I mean, to me, he's by far and away the greatest recording artist and, artist in general of all time. Pound for pound, lyric for lyric, you're not going to find someone who's as talented and prolific as Bruce. I think of it this way. Most artists, they're lucky to have 2 or 3 great songs in their career. Bruce has, 1,000. Just 50 years of amazing recordings and still going strong. We expected an announcement of a tour anytime. It'll probably be a little bit longer now, given what's going on, but you can expect Bruce and the full E Street Band to be touring in a city near you in, hopefully this year. And for those of you that haven't seen him, go check him out. That concert, that 3 hours of your life will change your life.
I think that's for sure. Then.
Yeah, we gotta do our next broadcast from the show.
Hell yeah!
I could only imagine the streaming issues of the show. It'd be the best thing ever. So, Rich, I do.
Wait a second. This whole thing didn't record. We got to start over. Play that intro again.
I get up.
I'm gonna
play it out.
Yeah, that's the song that'll play us out to my grave. This is a blast, guys. Thanks so much for joining me tonight, and thanks for sitting through the technical difficulties. But all in all, I think it was pretty awesome. It's cool I love just diving into Bruce Springsteen with Rich, because anything you throw his way, he knows everything.
Expert.
Talk all night about Bruce.
Jason, where can we find your music? Where can we find more about you? And where can people connect with you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Jason, or it's at JasonKLK. New music's coming. I've got a buddy of mine, and we're both recording, and we're hopefully going to have stuff up soon. But until then, you can check me out there.
Jason, the first ever super champion of Bills, where he not only won the one time, but then won the full-on championship later on that month. So, yeah, go and check him out. He's a really talented guy. Rich, where can we find you? Where's your social media hits, and what else you got going on, my friend?
Social media. What is that thing you speak of called?
Okay, Boomer.
What is this? What is this MySpace thing you speak of? No, we got to Twitter. We got Legal Face Off. We're dropping another episode of Legal Face Off on WGN on Thursday, covering all sorts of legal topics. Check out our club called Fame in River North. Be opening very, very soon.
Yes. A post-corona world.
Absolutely.
I know, it's the craziest thing. I wonder if Bruce is going to be able to still do the crowd surf. It might look like one of those like hamster bubbles now, where he just like walks through the crowd and people are just
yeah.
Weird though. Guys, this has been a blast. Thanks so much for doing this. We should do this really, really soon again, very soon.
Mike, thank you.
Thanks, Mike. See you further on up the road.
Great.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, I have a great song to get us out on. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank
you. You're amazing.
you.
We'll see you later. Thanks for joining us here on
Have a
Sanitized
wonderful
Sessions.
night.
Come on in.